Well, look whose funeral Obama gave eulogy at that liberals conveniently forgot about. Let's remind them. The scumbag globalist Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media have spent this entire week taking President Trump to task for calling out both sides for the violent confrontations in Charlottesville, Virginia, which occurred last weekend. But what they seem to have conveniently forgotten is that President Trump never once condoned the actions of the KKK or the Nazi sympathizers. The president only said that both the Nazis and Antifa were equally at fault. But what they seem to have conveniently forgotten is that President Trump never once condoned the actions of the KKK or the Nazi sympathizers. The president only said that both the Nazis and Antifa were equally at fault. The media has of course taken this opportunity to rip President Trump a new one and switch their failed narrative of Russian collusion back to racism, going as far as even calling for his resignation over these inconsequential comments. But they seem to forget that not so long ago, their own golden child, former President Barack Hussein Obama, did something far worse, but he was never called out because of it. He eulogized the grand wizard of the KKK, the Democrats' very own former leader, Senator Robert K. Byrd. In fact, back in 2010, at a memorial service on the grounds of the state capitol in Charleston, West Virginia, the former president went as far as to call Senator Byrd, the nation's longest-serving legislator and a fierce protector of the U.S. Constitution, a Senate icon and an elder statesman. Even former president and our favorite sexual predator, Bill Clinton, applauded Byrd's skill as a fiddler and fondly remembered being lectured by him over the line item veto. And the media applauded all this. A senator's shame. Byrd, in his new book, again confronts early ties to KKK. In the early 1940s, a politically ambitious butcher from West Virginia named Bob Byrd recruited 150 of his friends and associates to form a chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. After Byrd had collected the $10 joining fee and $3 charge for a robe and hood from every applicant, the Grand Dragon for the Mid-Atlantic states came down to tiny Crab Orchard, Virginia, to officially organize the chapter. As Byrd recalls now, the Klan official, Joel L. Baskin of Arlington, Virginia, was so impressed with the young Byrd's organizational skills that he urged him to go into politics. "The country needs young men like you in the leadership of the nation," Baskin said. The young Klan leader went on to become one of the most powerful and enduring figures in modern Senate history. Throughout a half-century on Capitol Hill, Senator Robert C. Byrd, D.W. Virginia, has twice held the premier leadership post in the Senate, helped win ratification of the Panama Canal Treaty, squeezed billions from federal coffers to aid his home state, and won praise from liberals for his opposition to the war in Iraq and his defense of minority party rights in the Senate. Despite his many achievements, however, the venerated Byrd has never been able to fully erase the stain of his association with one of the most reviled hate groups in the nation's history. "It has emerged throughout my life to haunt and embarrass me and has taught me in a very graphic way what one major mistake can do to one's life, career, and reputation," Byrd wrote in a new memoir, Robert C. Byrd, Child of the Appalachian Coal Fields, that will be published tomorrow by West Virginia University Press. The 770-page book is the latest in a long series of attempts by the 87-year-old Democratic patriarch to try to explain an event early in his life that threatens to define him nearly as much as his achievements in the Senate. In it, Byrd says he viewed the Klan as a useful platform from which to launch his political career. He described it essentially as a fraternal group of elites, doctors, lawyers, clergy, judges and other upstanding people who at no time engaged in or preached violence against blacks, Jews or Catholics, who historically were targets of the Klan. His latest account is consistent with others he has offered over the years that tend to minimize his direct involvement with the Klan and explain it as a youthful indiscretion. "My only explanation for the entire episode is that I was sorely afflicted with tunnel vision, a jejune and immature outlook, seeing only what I wanted to see because I thought the Klan could provide an outlet for my talents and ambitions," Byrd wrote. While Byrd provides the most detailed description of his early involvement with the Klan, conceding that he reflected the fears and prejudices I had heard throughout my boyhood. The account is not complete. He does not acknowledge the full length of time he spent as a Klan organizer and advocate. Nor does he make any mention of a particularly incendiary letter he wrote in 1945 complaining about efforts to integrate the military. Byrd said in an interview last week that he never intended for his book to provide finite details of his Klan activities, but to show young people that there are serious consequences to one's choices and that you can rise above your past. He suggested that his career should be judged in light of all that he did subsequently to help lift his state out of poverty, and to bring basic and critically needed services and infrastructure to West Virginia. "I grew up in a state where we didn't have much hope," Byrd said. "I wanted to help my people and give them hope. I'm just proud that the people of West Virginia accepted me as I was and helped me along the way." Byrd's indelible links to the Klan, the albatross around my neck, as he once described it, shows the remarkable staying power of racial issues more than 40 years after the height of the civil rights movement. Senator Trent Lott, our Miss, learned that lesson the hard way at a birthday party in December 2002, when his nostalgic words about Senator Strom Thurmond, our SC, who ran for president as a segregationist in 1948, caused a public uproar and cost Lott the majority leader's post. What most people tend to forget is the Democrat Party did, in fact, not long ago, have huge ties to the KKK. But we can't say that because it's a talking point that he left has appropriated to use against anyone they disagree with politically. But facts are facts, and it's impossible to erase the fact that Barack Obama, who was a far-left liberal globalist Democrat, eulogized a KKK grand wizard. Please share if you agree Democrats shouldn't be calling anyone a racist. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.